And here we are navigating the dirty pocket. Welcome in, folks. I am joined by the scout, Mr. Daniel Kelly. We're both on fumes after a full day of work activity, writing, contemplation, deep meditation, and not enough hydration. So how are you,
Wow.
my friend?
Doing well, Stacy. You're a poet and you just don't know it. I mean, that's incredible stuff right off the bat. I mean, you may say you're running on fumes, but it sounds like you're clicking at all cylinders from where I'm sitting.
I got to tell you, that was it. That's all I got. It was
Okay,
nice
good,
seeing
good.
you. Game over.
That's awesome.
Welcome in, folks, and welcome into my friend here. What a week in the NFL last week. So much emotion around Damar Hamlin. God, it's great a week later to see he's back home. He's talking and back to doing what he does as a person. Really, really good news compared to a week ago.
Absolutely.
So here we are, Scout. Before we start, what are we drinking this week?
Well, this is going to be a little different, like usual.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
hey, Clixer, what's
Okay.
up, man?
Clixer is back.
Here we
Very
go.
nice
Here we
to
go.
see
Here we
you.
go. Here we go. I'm opening it
Oh,
now.
okay.
Okay. Tonight we're going with post.
Oh, pasta. What the heck is that?
It's an apple flavored soda.
Hey,
Okay.
Anybody watching Clixer? Anybody seen this before? I have not.
It's the whole reason I picked it, just to see how you see a reaction, Stacy. I have no idea. I've never had this before in my life. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna give this a try right now on the show. Let's see. It's
I
apple
got
soda.
H2O. That's all I got.
That's good.
Not
It tastes like apple. Now check this
Okay.
out. Check this out. Okay, I got my my little sponsorship thing. If we could only get Postabon to sponsor our show, right? Hey, listen. Okay, this one's for my peeps in Washington D.C. Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Again, like keep in mind this is apple flavored. Okay, so that's what I'm going to play off of. Okay.
Me and Clixer are healthier than you. Go ahead.
Absolutely. When you're in Washington and you just got rid of Scott Turner as your offensive coordinator and realize that the apple didn't fall far from the tree because his dad Norm was there too and he was terrible, reach for a Postabon. Available in grocery stores in a very limited capacity, especially by the National Football League.
Wow. Not available in the nation's capital, just like the Turners. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Did
Wow.
anybody expect anything different from Scott Turner after the debacle of having his dad there in the mid 90s? It's
I don't know what to say to this. It's brutal. It is. Yeah, we're here. Black Monday. We're on Extra Black Tuesday, I guess, because it's 2 days later. Here we go. We've got some rapid fire subjects, NFL centric for anyone and all. We've picked a few out of the hat, and certainly we've got to talk about coaching stuff. But let's start off. Let's start off strong right from the word go on our
That's good.
7 subjects in 27 minutes, whatever we got left on this beautiful show. Micah Parsons, the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to be in the playoffs against what some people think is the GOAT, Mr. Tom Brady and Tampa Bay. Does Micah Parsons put up a game for the ages, or does he disappear and you begin a Twitter battle with his dad?
Very possible. Listen, folks, last year against the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs, Micah Parsons looked lazy. That's right. He took half the game off. Go back and watch. Listen, folks, the 49ers beat the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, okay, 23-17. Go back and watch those 2 touchdown runs by the San Francisco 49ers. Number 11 looked terrible. Listen, folks, we got to stop watching the ball and start watching number 11. This is one of the most overrated players in the National Football League. This guy continuously takes half the plays off. I'm sick and tired of the accolades. I want the Cowboys fan base to watch 11 on every single play because I guarantee you he'll do what he always did at Penn State. He'll do what he's always done since then. He takes half the plays off. And last year in the 49ers, he was embarrassing and he failed his team. Watch number 11 this week against the GOAT, Tom Brady. And I'm telling you, don't bet against the GOAT. Don't bet against Tom Brady. We know how that's
Just,
going to turn out. But listen, watch
just,
number 11. Don't watch the ball. Watch number 11 and watch him fail his team half the time.
Strong words from the scout on Micah Parsons. So I guess, look, I'm disgusted that Tom Brady's in the playoffs with a sub 500 record. Give me a break. It just turns my stomach. That's the truth. I'm over it. But I guess this means you're not picking number 11 of the Dallas Cowboys for Defensive Player of the Year. Is that a solid bet?
That's a surefire bet, Stacy. You can bet your house and your entire family's houses on that one.
Okay, so watch off the ball NFL football, says the scout, in this Tampa Dallas game, which is about the only interest I'd have in it, to be being really open. I think we're going to see the last of Zeke Elliott as a Cowboy in these playoffs or in this game, depending on what happens. It's gonna be a weird game. I'm sick that Tom Brady's in this sub 500. I don't like it. We've seen it before. But okay, Micah Parsons, you say lays an egg on national television in this playoff game. I know you've always been a big fan. Quickly, though, who do you like for Defensive Player of the Year? Are we going to San Francisco and Mr. Nick Bosa? Or what do you think is going to happen here?
I don't know. That's a good toss-up.
Okay,
I tell you what. I like my guy Sauce Gardner with the Jets.
Defensive Rookie of the Year for
and
sure.
Defensive Player of the Year even because he's a lockdown, shutdown corner. And PFF just came out with the ratings. He was number one in the league. And I had said before the season even started that he was going to be the top corner as a rookie in the National Football League. Go check it out, SI Jets. And sure enough, he is. He was locked down, shut down. There was just nothing happening on his side of the field this year. And I think even as a rookie, he showed that he should be Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, snuck it in there after the Micah Parsons prediction. Let's move on, rapid fire style here. How bizarre is it, Scout, that just 17, 18, 19, 20 weeks ago, even a year ago, we were talking a lot about a guy named Trey Lance. We actually had people come on this show and swear to us that the North Dakota State star would be the next biggest thing in the NFL. You took abuse that is unparalleled on Twitter. And here we are looking at Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers. What say you? You've made some bold predictions. Brock Purdy is about to enter the playoffs, Mr. Irrelevant. What's going to happen?
He's going to win the Super Bowl.
No, what? Wait a minute. Really?
Yeah, really. I wrote on December 5th, you can check it out on my website, firstroundmock.com. I wrote an article that said that Brock Purdy is going to be the Super Bowl champion this year with the 49ers. This guy's got what it takes. He's going straight to the show. He's going to win it all. And let me tell you something. If Brock Purdy doesn't put every NFL general manager and scout on notice, I don't know who does, because this is Mr. Irrelevant. This is the last pick in the entire draft, and he's going to win it all for the San Francisco 49ers.
Boy, I tell you what, the Niners, a lot of people, we're going to get to it in a minute. We're going to get to it here in just a second. As an NFL draft guy on firstroundmock.com, breaking down the draft, I want to talk to you about what the Texans did and if it matters. But here we are. And the reason I bring that up is because there were people. Does anyone remember what they gave up for Trey Lance?
I do.
I mean, it's stunning.
I do. He'll never take another snap as a starting quarterback with the San Francisco 49ers.
I don't think he does anywhere.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's done. He's almost been 3 years since he's even hardly played football. No, he's done. And but I tell you what, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch live a very charmed life, because Jimmy G was able to bail him out, and now Brock Purdy is able to bail him out. They're able to do Brock Purdy is able to do that for him and for those guys in San Francisco. What's not happening in the Jets? What we see not happening there? No one's bailing those people out of the Jets.
Yeah,
But Brock Purdy, he's bailing everybody out with the 49ers.
I can't get over it. I mean, the Niners are my chief rival team, the team I love to hate as I could see it for a few more weeks, world champion Los Angeles Ram fan. They are getting bailed out left and right on bad draft and quarterback decisions. Garoppolo comes back. He sticks on the roster. He comes back, plays hurt. He gets them this far. Then Brock Purdy comes in. It's kind of incredible. Like, what if
It is.
did Kyle Shanahan cut a deal with the devil or something? It's bizarre. But I got to tell you real quickly before we move into our third bullet of the week. What did the Texans choke? And I bring that up because of the Trey Lance and all they gave up to go up and get him. Now we're a year later, and we're looking at what the Texans did, and the Chicago Bears have Justin Fields. Again, I'm not big on the quarterbacks, but you're breaking them down on firstroundmock.com. They lost out on Bryce Young. Is that a big deal?
They didn't lose on Bryce Young at all.
Okay. You think the Bears are going to try to package picks, or they can't pick a quarterback, can they?
No, they're not picking a quarterback. They have their quarterback. They have Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But the guy that I think that they have targeted, if they're going to take someone at that spot, is Jalen Carter, the big defensive tackle from Georgia, who is going to take over the NFL, is going to be the best defensive tackle in the National Football League. This guy can wreck the inside of the line, and I think the Bears are kind of looking at him as being that guy. This is the guy. I think Jalen Carter is a surefire Hall of Famer. That's how good I think he is.
Wow.
I'll come out and say it. I mean, this guy reminds me of Alan Page. Okay. This guy's got it. So they could go that route. They could trade down. If the Bears trade down, I would love, 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 if they took a look at selecting tight end Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. I think if you put Mayer in Chicago and pair him with Justin Fields running around out there, I tell you what, Mayer is going to embarrass safeties and linebackers in this league. The way he can cut at the break point with that size downfield, I would love to see that with some additional ones going to Chicago for somebody to move up to that spot. But, the Texans are sitting pretty, getting back to your spot. They're going to get somebody there. CJ Stroud is right there in the mix as well.
I think I'm not big on these quarterbacks. I don't think they're terrible. I think
CJ Stroud is generational. I think it's the first time I've ever used that term. CJ Stroud's like a human jugs machine stand back there. He can look off the safety. His placement's good. He moves around. He's not one of these running quarterbacks, but he reminds me of Warren Moon.
Yeah, I know you've been big on him. Check it out at firstroundmock.com, folks. This is going to be interesting. To me, what the Texans did by winning is interesting as hell, because the Bears are now in a unique position to package some picks. They still could get Jalen Carter for somebody that's quarterback hungry, depending on how far they drop down. The Texans are going to get a quarterback. They don't even have a coach this week after canning Lovie Smith. Very interesting. And the reason I bring it up is because of this Trey Lance thing. Anybody who wants to move up with Chicago for that number one pick is going to look back on that Trey Lance ridiculously stupid trade the Niners made to go up and get him at 3. I mean, look out, folks. This is going to be an interesting NFL draft. Okay.
And one more thing about that. I think 3 names could really shake things up in this draft as far as quarterbacks are concerned. You have a slew of veteran free agents to begin with, out there that could mix things up. But you also have Derek Carr, right?
Yep.
And I think you throw in, I think Zach Wilson is going to get thrown into that mix possibly. And you also look at Trey Lance, I think is also going to be in the trading block when this is all said and done. So those guys could mix things up too in the draft as far as which teams might or might not need a quarterback, at least from a perception standpoint going forward.
Yeah, it's really true. Some great points from Clixer and MTO here in reference to
our
your
guys.
Comments. Yeah. Great to see everybody here.
It's great to see you guys here.
I tell you, and there's some great ideas coming out here as well. I just want to, I don't know, for me, tight end that high where the Bears would demand, depending on where they drop, little high. I do agree. Cole Kmet's a nice addition or a nice player there in Chicago. Lots to unpack with the draft. Stay tuned on the Dirty Pocket, folks. I had to throw it in there. I got to shift gears here for a minute to the nation's capital and the Washington Commanders. Are we seeing the dawn of a new era with Sam Howell? Is he the star, generational impact franchise quarterback the Commanders want and need?
No. No, he's not. What a disservice. First of all,
no.
they should have kept Taylor Heineke in there all along. To bring Carson Wentz in there, cost them a chance to even get to the playoffs this year. Okay. It's Sam Howell. I had a 5th-round grade on him pre-draft last year. Watching Sam Howell play at North Carolina was like watching paint dry. This guy is Rex Grossman 2.0. He's a cross between Rex Grossman and Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. He's a guy that's not downfield focused enough. He runs around. He's a very low energy guy. The worst thing that could have possibly happened to the Washington Commanders was having Howell play as well as he did against Dallas, giving Washington the perception they now have a quarterback they do not have. Let Taylor Heinicke walk, get rid of Carson Wentz. All of a sudden, Washington's back to having nobody at quarterback again. And yeah, that's a disaster. They're gonna dupe themselves into thinking they have something in Sam Howell that they do not have.
Oh yeah, it's boy, it was almost disappointing. The Commanders are in big trouble. They need to clean house. I expected Ron Rivera to be part of Black Monday.
I did too.
Little interesting to watch what transpires there. Great guy, obviously, as a person.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, the Commanders needed a wholesale flush in the nation's capital. Very interesting scout. Okay, I got to shift to one of my favorite. One of the things that really made this season enjoyable for me is my world champion Los Angeles Rams started to tank early in the season. God, I love the Detroit Lions. I don't care. Yes, there's a Goff connection for me that makes it special. Yes, there's a Brad Holmes connection for me that makes it special. But watching the Detroit Lions take out the Packers and Aaron Rodgers the other night and watching them battle all season from I believe they were 1-6 at one point. That's old school football for us guys with gray hair. What do you make of the Detroit Lions? What stood out to you? Is their future bright? What do you think?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I wrote for Sports Illustrated Detroit Lions an article last May, the 8 most winnable games for the Detroit Lions this season, and ends up I was right on 7 out of 8 of them, and I only missed the Seattle game by 3 points. So I kind of saw maybe an improvement there this season. My big question mark was Goff, your guy. He's been like a roller coaster. I still don't trust him. You feel more strongly about him than I do, and that's fine. But, I think the Lions had an incredible season for them that they can build upon and go forward. That offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, did an outstanding job to the point where he should be a head coach candidate at this point for one of these openings. He should. If you can do that in Detroit.
I agree. I just hated that for the Lions. They got to throw money at him. Yeah.
Right. But if you can do that in Detroit, you deserve a shot at a head job, especially in Arizona or Denver, 2 places that nobody wants to take that job because of the quarterback situations that they have cemented in there for hundreds of millions of dollars that aren't looking too good with Russell Wilson in Denver. And, of course, Kyler Murray in Arizona. Ben deserves that opportunity, I think. And, they really did a nice turnaround this year for them. It was good to see. Because it was pretty bleak the 2 years I covered them.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch the Detroit Lions. I love their guts. I love the spirit, the culture Dan Campbell's done there. I absolutely loved, the safety's name's escaping me at the moment, that picked off Rodgers twice Sunday night, tweeting before the game, yeah, we didn't make it. I don't care. You're not making it either. That's my kind of NFL football. Kirby Joseph, thank you, MTO. It was absolutely escaping me through clutch effort there. I love the Lions. They're a throwback to a time in football that I couldn't love more, and I'm really excited to see them. Okay, the playoffs are here, Scout. The NFL playoffs, I think several of us on this show and several of those listening, none of our teams are going to make an impact in the playoffs this year. Nonetheless, here we are again, staring down the barrel of the Minnesota Vikings. And Kevin O'Connell, in his first year, gets them into the playoffs. Their offense obviously has all the pieces. Kirk Cousins, I said it. Thielen, Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. What's going to happen to the Minnesota Vikings? Because they are weird. They are one weird team to watch.
They really are, and I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan at all. I think that he's the weak link to this whole thing. Now, my boys Isaiah and Nathan, get their names in here. They both love the Minnesota Vikings. They live in Minnesota, in fact. And my boy Isaiah loves Justin Jefferson. I don't. That's all I hear about every single time we talk. Just about is Justin Jefferson. You know, he is good. The thing about the Vikings is I forget the exact number. I think it was like I sent it to you earlier. It was like 423 points. I think they scored offensively, and they gave up 428. That's a weird stat to me. That and they're in the playoffs. That tells me that their defense has a lot of holes in it and a lot of weakness in there that gets really scary when you get into playoff time, because defense wins championships. And I just am not seeing that with the Minnesota Vikings. You know, there's just one of these organizations that, you know, always has enough to get to the dance, but never has the moves to win the contest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't like that defense either. I think Harrison Smith has been a stud back there, probably the best player on their defense for a couple seasons. But you get the feeling
he's been good for a long time.
Yeah, you get the feeling this might have been the year they should have traded him for some draft capital to a contender or to somebody that could have used him. I'm going to go on record, and it's going to be very unpopular as it hits the airwaves. I've always felt Patrick Peterson's very overrated as a corner. That's just my take. I don't think he's terrible. I just think that people put him in that upper echelon. I just don't like their defense. And I think you're right. The Kirk Cousins factor always makes you just a little sick to yourself. Like, what's he going to do?
I'm holding up a number one finger, okay, because his football resume has one playoff victory in 10 years. You know, that's not a good resume to head into the postseason with.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Fascinating stuff here from Clixer and MTO. Both of them, unless they're sitting next to each other, and I don't think they are, both of them are saying, look out for the Giants.
Well, that was my surprise team in the NFC on YouTube.
Okay.
That was my surprise team of the NFC for this year was the New York Giants. I talked about it on a show before we started the season even. I'm a huge Brian Daboll fan, as you know. I tried to get him hired in Washington in 2019 when I interviewed there with the team president. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
MTO sent that note before you said it. He clearly has a better memory than me.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
MTO.
incredible. I can't believe he remembers that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's good. I got like 5 million people on Twitter hate me, and a couple guys that really like me. I love that. But you know, that's the thing. The Giants are a team to be reckoned with in these playoffs. And, you know, they have it. And you know, Kayvon Thibodeau has come through in a big way. I wanted the Jets to take him. You know, there's that age-old battle. Do I take a corner or do I take a pass rusher? Well, I think the Giants have proven the pass rusher is the better pick. I love Sauce Gardner, have his jersey. But, you know, getting to the quarterback, you know, by 3 Mississippi is sometimes better than trying to cover receiver the 5 Mississippi. You know what I mean? That's the age-old battle there. But, yeah, look out for the Giants for sure. The G-Men.
Wouldn't that be something? Anybody but Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is out of it. I want to see something fresh. Brock Purdy, they're the Niners. I can't root for the Niners, but the Giants. Look at this. Both listeners here.
I think they're on to something. Yeah.
And
the Giants, the 49ers would be a very, very interesting throwback NFC Championship game.
Yeah. Really interesting stuff. Some great feedback here from MTO.
Yeah, and I don't like Evan Neal either, MTO. I don't like Evan Neal.
He's a guard.
I said he's one of the 16 players to look out for and avoid in the first round.
Yeah, I also, as a guy, University of Oregon fan, I agree with MTO. I got to watch Kayvon a lot. I thought he got overdrafted. But interesting. Scout likes him. This is where we agree and disagree on this show. Very interesting stuff. Okay, we want to shift gears. You're wearing the hat appropriately, so I'm going to assume this is not a coincidence. As I got wind today. Oh wait, they're talking to me from the truck right now. It seems someone has put their hat in the ring for the GM job in New York. Who? Oh, my co-host. What? Tell us, Scout. The New York Jets as the season closes, and I understand you've made contact.
I have actually. I put out an article for Sports Illustrated New York Jets that if given the opportunity, I can win a Super Bowl with the New York Jets next season. And,
Zach Wilson's your quarterback?
Oh no. Oh no. No. I'll change airlines if I have to for the Jets. But no, it's not Zach Wilson. It's Mike White. And I want to elevate Mike LaFleur to head coach.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we're going to waive our punter, and we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it in a big way. And I think, see, I watched Bill Parcells when I was there come into that organization. And what's the first thing he did? He changed the atmosphere, okay? The atmosphere, the environment has to change with the New York Jets, okay? Right now, losing is accepted and rewarded. It cannot stay that way. The belief level needs to be raised. And I would walk in there. My opening statement would be New York Jets, Super Bowl 58 champions. That'd be my opening statement right off the bat. Okay, because we set the bar at the top. I would come in there on a 100% commission only, no guarantees, no base salary, Super Bowl or bust deal. And I would come in there and we would win it because there would be no other choice. We would win it next year. All I need is the opportunity. All I need is 10 minutes with Mr. Johnson, and I will make him more excited than he has ever been in his life if I can look him in the eyes for 10 minutes and convey the passion I have to win it all. It'll be like taking candy from a baby from the rest of the NFL. We will run the table.
Okay, I got some questions. MTO with some interesting thoughts. I actually think Lamar Jackson in New York with that defense could be interesting. I'm not a big Lamar Jackson. I'm a purist at the quarterback position, and he's definitely more of an athlete to me. I'm sorry, his accuracy throwing still does not overly impress me. That's just the honest truth. But with that defense, he's dynamic. That's interesting. MTO goes on to talk about Colin Kaepernick coming out and maybe running some wildcat formations.
There's different
interesting
things.
stuff.
There's different things we can do, definitely. There's things I would love to do. Yeah, and that Zach Wilson comment was just, you would think after getting an all-you-can-eat serving a humble pie, that would not have been the statement that he made, but he did. And that it's I would love the opportunity to do this thing. Yeah, I believe that winning is a mindset, and we got to change the mindset. We got to change the atmosphere and the environment. The New York Jets, and everybody's got 53 players. Everybody's about the same, physically. The coaches work around the clock, all that good stuff. What separates the champion from everybody else? It's mindset. The game is won and lost from the neck up.
Okay, so the Jets got to go offensive line in this draft, right? I mean, come on.
Across the boards. Listen, the New York Jets, right? Okay, get this, right? Out of the 18 offensive linemen they had under contract in 2022, okay, 13 of those guys are free agents, okay? 13 are free agents, and out of the 5 returning, okay, only one guy is not an injury reserve or non-football injury, okay? And that's Laken Tomlinson, okay, the guard, okay? They have one returning healthy offensive lineman on that roster, okay? And they only have $15 million of projected cap space at this point. Okay, so Joe Douglas, as I wrote in my article last week for SI Jets, he has left this. The Jets fan base doesn't understand this at this point, but I'm trying to shed some light on it, okay? The New York media is not going to talk about it because they would get their press credentials yanked, okay? I'm trying to convey this because I care about the organization and its great fan base of the New York Jets. Joe Douglas has left this thing in a shambles, okay? And the Roquan Smith, the big signing today in Baltimore for $100 million for 5 years, that's going to really cause problems with trying to re-sign Quincy Williams at linebacker. He has similar stats that Roquan does, okay? That's going to be a big problem. His big brother, defensive tackle Quinton Williams, is already demanding a new deal. Okay, yeah. They got Zach Wilson running his mouth, in the next room over here. There's all these issues that Joe Douglas has failed to manage that's going to come back to get him this year. But, if I could only have that job, if I could get in that position, we would make it work. But as it is right now, no. This thing's in disarray.
I mean, what are you going to – listen, we saw the news that the owner came out and just flat out admitted, I'm really close to Zach Wilson's family. We're going to develop him come hell or high water. Wow. You're going to have to deal with some ownership issues. You get this job scout, a failing offensive line. You're going to need a salary cap expert. For that defense.
I have a salary cap guy. I have the best guy in the league. That I have in mind.
Okay. So, all right. So, New York Jets, call the scout. We'll bring the dirty pocket into the New York Jet organization. Okay, I've got a couple of wild cards I want to throw out here. Certainly looking for anything from MTO Clixer as well on their opinions. Um, I got three. I got three in closing because I have to cover all three. One, was that the worst college national championship you've ever seen? What was that? What did we watch? Like,
I'll tell you what we watched. We watched Quentin Johnston, the receiver at TCU, the overrated receiver out there. We saw him get his lunch handed to him. One catch for 3 yards off 2 targets and interception. That doesn't bode too well for his draft status. I'm writing him up tomorrow for firstroundmock.com. But yeah, they were completely and utterly overmatched. And, it's when you play Georgia, that's the nice thing about a game like that, because when you play a Georgia or Alabama or something, I always say in my scouting notes and stuff, that's about as close as you can get to an NFL audition and NFL warm-up that's available in college football. So to see how Georgia dominated those guys and to see, what happened there, that was wild. That was a high-scoring, wild game.
65-7, Clixer.
That's like Madden football or something.
But 2 minutes to halftime, I was like, "This is awful. What else is on TV? This is terrible." I agree on Jalen Carter. Tune into First Round Mock. The scout absolutely loves him to the Bears.
Absolutely over Will Anderson.
Draft. Will Anderson. I'm not even seeing that.
I got a writer on my staff for First Round Mock. Ken Bax, and he's talking about how Will Anderson should even change to a different position. He thinks he looks completely overwhelmed. He should move back to inside linebacker or something. And Will Anderson is an underachiever. He's got kind of one of those sputtering motors.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Jalen Carter, Jalen Carter, yes, that's the real deal there.
Those poor clowns.
He's going to blow up the inside of an offensive line in the NFL.
So MTO's reading my mind because this is one of my wild cards. And 2 more, and then we've got to wrap it up for this week. But I got to tell you, is Jadeveon Clowney the biggest turd in the NFL? Like, his comments this week, does he need a post bond?
Yes.
He goes out and says something crazy like the Browns defense is giving Myles Garrett all the best matchups. Like, what is going on with this guy? Like, all the talent in the world, absolutely, to me, one of the biggest busts of the last decade. Like, I don't care that he had a couple good seasons. It's where he was drafted with his talent level and all that. Can you believe this whole thing with the Browns? And they just sent him packing. Like, yeah, get out of here. We're done.
Well, right. You see, and this is the thing.
Yeah, Myles Garrett, yeah.
This is one of the things that teams I don't think pay enough attention to, and that's team chemistry. Okay, this is not just about finding a bunch of measurables. This is not just about running around a bunch of orange little cones in your underwear. Okay, this is.
I'm going to do that after the show tonight. I didn't know that was an issue.
That's a heck of a visual. Thank you, Stacy. That's great. Make sure you shut your camera off for your podcast. Okay. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's one of the most underrated things is chemistry. I learned this from Bobby Beathard, the greatest general manager in my mind in NFL history. Is everybody you bring into a locker room is like an ingredient in a recipe. You either add or subtract to the environment, and this is where this thing with Clowney, they brought him in, and obviously he subtracted from that environment, and they sent him home. But it's not just about talent. It's not just about measurables. It's about fit as well. Does this guy fit into the organization? And with Clowney, the obvious answer here was no, he didn't fit in with the Cleveland Browns.
I don't think he fits in anywhere. I wouldn't touch him with a 40-foot pole.
After this, he's going to have a hard time after that statement. It's almost like when we saw AB tear off his shirt and run out of the stadium. When you make this kind of a statement, you're going to have a really, really hard time finding a new home. I mean, even in Dominic
for
Sue,
his pay.
Yeah, Sue had a hard time, and he's never said a word, I don't think, to anybody. He had a hard time finding a home. It's just there's too much talent coming into this league. And at this point, Clowney, to make that kind of a statement, you got to be a team player, a role player at that point in your career. If you're not, it's just I don't get that at all. That's was
Yeah.
a very bizarre, non-needed statement on his part. That's really going to cost him, I believe.
Very valid point. Interesting one, MTO. He's going to join the rest of those overachievers on the Washington Commander defensive line.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Very good point.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Him and Chase Young will be roommates in camp.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, final thought as we close this week. Got to ask Scout, coming at you live and unrehearsed. What do you make as a guy who's worked in an NFL franchise, who worked with the great Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, all the great names? What do you make of this stuff with Sean McVay? I mean, I got opinions, but I want to hear it from an ex-NFL guy, maybe future NFL guy. Is this what the Rams can look forward to every year? That the Sean McVay, it's starting to look like the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre. I'm going to threaten retirement every year. I just sold the farm, and now things are tough, and the bill is due, and so I'm going to go off. I'm really stressed out. I'm going to go off and take a break. What do you seriously make of it?
I don't know what to make of it, actually, to be honest with you. I don't know. He's obviously earned, he's obviously in that upper echelon of coaching stratosphere now after last year. Once you win a Super Bowl, you're cemented in that category. Maybe he just needs a little time to reflect. I know I will tell you this much, okay? The NFL season is grueling for the guys who work in the office and do this day in and day out. It's around the clock. It's 15 to 22 hours a day. I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
Maybe a nap. I mean, I've known coaches before. I mean, Charlie Weiss, our offensive coordinator with the Jets, used to have a cot in his office. He used to sleep in his office, and I'd be leaving at 10:30 at night for the day. After getting in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and as soon as I opened the door, you could hear a pen drop just about, and he knew it was me, and he was kind of funny about it. He was a good hard guy. He was like, hey Dan, don't you want to win? It's these guys work around the clock. Joe Gibbs used to sleep in his office 2 nights a week. He used to have a little cutout in his door where they used to slip pizza boxes in his doorway for him to have dinner, and they would deliver a pizza to him. So for him to say, hey, I need a little time away from the game. I'm talking about McVay again. I think it's kind of normal. It's been a really, it's been a wild 2 years for him, to say the least, with everything that's gone on with the Rams. I mean, what do you think? You're a Rams guy. You're dialed into this situation. You watch it much more closely than I do.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, and I reserve the right to change my opinion as my emotions subside or change. If you're asking me today, I think it's a terrible look. I think it's right now with Sean McVay, he's never developed a quarterback. He's never drafted and developed a quarterback. He's always had to run out and get other people's developed players. He's been very lucky to coach Aaron Donald. And he's brought in the Von Millers and the Jalen Ramseys. And it's like now the going gets tough and the tough get going. I don't think it's a great look for his legacy. That's my opinion today. I've always had a love relationship with McVay, even though he brought my team out of the doldrums. Can't deny that. Will always appreciate that. But I've always had kind of a uneasy feeling about him, and I don't know.
You've expressed that.
I have. I've been honest about it.
Yeah, months before the Super Bowl victory, even you talked about it.
Yeah, the play calling kind of drives me nuts at times and stuff. So I was interested in getting your thoughts on it and everyone else's. I absolutely agree with that, Clixer. I could not agree more with that comment, as well as MTO's. This isn't a good look for his legacy. He'll be a one and done Super Bowl guy. That's great, but it looks like the bill came due, and I'm skating out on the bill. And I really want to see if he can develop a quarterback. I tend to think, as if you're asking me today, I think Clixer's 100% right. He's better at recruiting than developing, and I think he's gone. And if you're asking me today, I'm okay with that. Like, I think, thank you for the Super Bowl. Thanks for great memories. But I want a guy that lives and breathes the game in there. So very curious. Yeah, you can't. I couldn't agree more, MTO. I'm sure that the owner and purveyor of First Round Mock will agree. You can't sell your soul in the NFL draft and expect consistent success or dynasties. It just isn't the case. Hey, Grithead, thanks. Yeah, we'll touch base on that. um, it is, it's really an interesting subject for sure. But anyway, want to get your thoughts on it. We are running overtime here on the Dirty Pocket. Any final thoughts there, Scout?
Don't expect the Bills and the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I tend to agree with that. I think Clickster MTO brought up some really interesting points tonight about the Giants that I'm going to be watching. Are you still holding tight with the Miami Dolphins?
Yes.
Okay. With Tua or without? Either. With Tua. He comes back. Okay, Tua. Folks, there it is. Yep, I did see that. Very interesting. God, we've got some people who are really in the Scouts corner here. The Dirty Pocket is filling up with some good people here.
Yeah, okay. It is. Yeah, absolutely. We're forming a good offensive line in the pocket.
That's right. Well, folks, thanks for joining us this week. We had a long show, and I will tell you, we will see you next week. If you want to follow the Scout, go and deep dive on the NFL Draft already at firstroundmock.com. You can catch me as co-host of Gridiron Icon with ex-Ram legend Preston Denard. We've got two really cool guests this week. And rumor has it we've got some guy named Fred Bolitnikoff teed up for next week. Wow. So stay tuned. Thank both of you guys. Love that you're here. Appreciate the loyalty and the questions and also the feedback.
Glad you're liking it, MTO.
Yeah, very good. So thanks. Scout, any parting shots till next week?
Well, I'm looking forward to the time when you can't say defending world champion Rams anymore. I think we all are.
It's up to you. Hey, I'm going to get 17, 19, 20 weeks out of this. So here we go. I know it's over. The door is closing, and it's closing rapidly. I, too, like Kansas City out of the AFC. And in the NFC, I'll get back to you guys. You got me thinking about those New York Giants, all three of you tonight. So, all right, Post-a-bon. Folks, thanks for follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, all the usual spots for the Scout. I want to thank you all, and we will see you all next week.
Take care. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the playoffs.